Hello, Huron Heights. Mr. Gordon speaking here. The following video is going to give you an overview of our Caring and Safe Schools policies and procedures. We thank you in advance for your attention to this material. To begin, I will introduce our administrative team for this year. Once again, I am Mr. Gordon, Principal, and our Vice Principal team consists of Miss Rice, Miss Ostring, and Mr. MacArthur. You will be hearing from all of us throughout this video. To begin our video in a good way, I will share our land acknowledgement. One reason why we share a land acknowledgement is to show respect and recognize the Indigenous people whose land we live and work on. We affirm that we are all treaty people and acknowledge that the York Region District School Board is located on the lands of two treaties. These treaties have been signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the First Nations of the Williams Treaty, who are the Mississaugas of Alderville, Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Scugog Island, and the Chippewas of Beausoleil, Rama, and Georgina Island, who is our closest neighbor and partner in education. To honor this agreement, we will take up our responsibility to be respectful of their traditions, knowledge, and inherent rights as a sovereign nation. We will respect their relationship with these lands and recognize that our connection to this land is through the continued relationship with these First Nations. And we acknowledge our shared responsibility to respect and care for the land and waters for future generations. Thank you. As we begin, we want to ensure that all students know that Huron Heights staff are available to help and support you in any way. But along with our staff, there are outside agencies available, such as the Kids Help Phone and 360 Kids. At Huron Heights, we believe that all students have the right to learn in an environment where they feel safe, welcome, and respected. And we all have a role to play in creating this environment. A caring and safe school environment is based on the development of healthy, positive, and respectful relationships. It is up to all of us to create an environment where we are comfortable to learn and work. We all have the ability to create a caring, safe, and inclusive school culture. What does this environment look like and feel like and sound like at Huron Heights? Well, we believe this environment includes learning resources that reflect and value the identities and experiences of all students, families, and staff. We believe it provides opportunities to learn about and take action on issues of social justice, equity, and anti-discrimination. We believe it is a safe space to take risks in learning, and mistakes are seen as learning experiences. We believe it is a space where there is respectful communication and actions, and that we stand up for each other.
Discrimination and racism. Both racism and discrimination can take the following ways: using a slur or a derogatory comment, telling a joke that makes fun of someone's identity, writing a hurtful symbol associated with hate, excluding someone based on their identity, can happen in person or online. Forms of discrimination and racism. Any form of hate, racism, and discrimination will not be tolerated. Here are some examples of discrimination and racism that will not be accepted: Please take a moment and read and reflect. These are some possible examples of microaggressions. Micro-insults: failing to learn or continuing to mispronounce names of students and staff. Only playing and working with others of one gender, class, or race of students while ignoring other students during class. Reinforce particular gender in conversations or actions, or don't allow others flexibility across the roles and responses. Micro-invalidation: denying racism, sexism, and homophobia exists. Assuming someone's gender and telling others to just overcome their problems and adversities, such as systemic racism and disability, if they just work hard enough. Micro-assaults: not playing with others because of their identity. Use of slurs or other aggressive language. Environmental microaggressions: only reading books, watching videos or movies that center people from the dominant group. Omitting different voices in school, presentations, and assignments. York Region District School Board is focused on dismantling anti-Black racism. It is real, and we will not tolerate its occurrence in any form in our schools. All staff and students, in our partnership with parents and community members, will act to eliminate anti-Black racism when it happens. If you witness an incident or a student is harmed by anti-Black racism, please report the occurrence to the principal, vice principal, teachers, or other caring adults in the school. York Region District School Board has created protocols for addressing incidents of hate and/or discrimination. The following steps will be taken. Stop, interrupt, and address the behavior. Name the behavior, report the behavior, document the behavior. Support the targeted student and/or staff members. Conduct an investigation, provide education, and ensure accountability. Bullying. Bullying is typically a form of repeated and aggressive behavior directed at an individual or individuals that is intended to cause, or should be known to cause, fear and distress and/or harm to another person's body, feelings, self-esteem, or reputation. Bullying occurs in a context where there is a real or perceived power imbalance. Bullying can take many forms. It can be physical, such as hitting, shoving, stealing, or damaging property. It can be verbal, name-calling, mocking, or making sexist, racist, or homophobic comments. It can be social, excluding others from a group or spreading gossip or rumors about them. Or it could be written, writing notes or signs that are hurtful or insulting. And it can be electronic, commonly known as cyberbullying, spreading rumors and hurtful comments through the use of email, cell phones, text messaging, or social media. Virtual learning and online safety. As we continue with virtual learning, these are some important things to keep in mind so that we can be successful. Online learning is most successful when we establish and maintain routines, participate and share our voice in the learning activities, are respectful when writing messages and sharing ideas, and ask for feedback. The following are some activities that are not acceptable in a virtual environment: spreading hate with words or images, logging into a class that is not yours, sharing images that are not appropriate, and spamming the chat. Other additional items that are not appropriate are sharing names, addresses, or phone numbers of others on the internet without consent, sharing passwords with anyone other than teachers or parent guardians, and online threats. We want to make sure that you know that if something happens outside of school but affects our students here, we will investigate, and based on the incident, there may be consequences and learning. In-person learning. As we return back to face-to-face instruction, we want to share some reminders about learning together in person. What you can bring to school. Bring to school only what you need for class. This may include materials for class such as binders, books, pens, pencils, art supplies, electronic devices, and other class-specific supplies as needed. You could also bring appropriate footwear for safety and any electronic device that you need for your learning. The caring adults in your school would like to share some of the things that we feel help create a caring and safe school for us and for all of you. Be mindful that others have food allergies and scent and fragrance sensitivities. Please dispose of your food and wrappers in the refuge containers provided and consider using scent-free products where possible. Multi-tool, BB guns, or replica toy guns are not permitted on school property. As of October 2018, cannabis is legalized in Canada and in Ontario for those 19 or older to use, possess, buy, or grow cannabis. However, no matter how old, anyone found to be under the influence, in possession, or trafficking cannabis in school will be subject to progressive discipline, including suspension or expulsion and police involvement. This includes smoking, vaping, dabbing, or use of edibles. If you think that you or a friend of yours has a problem with their cannabis or substance misuse, we are here for you. Please reach out to the caring adults in our building. Vaping or the use of e-cigarettes on school property within 20 meters of the school property or school bus is not allowed and can lead to suspension. This includes holding any of these products. Also, according to town bylaws, they are treated the same as regular cigarettes and you can be ticketed and fined.
We would like you to consider the dangers of vaping. Vaping is not harmless. There are short and long-term health effects that are still being studied. Many e-juices, as they are called, contain nicotine, and students using them could become addicted. A recent study found in Science Daily has revealed that smokers of e-cigarettes experience the same, if not higher, levels of cardiovascular issues for prolonged periods after smoking an e-cigarette or a vape. These findings have significant implications for our understanding of the use of e-cigarettes on long-term cardiovascular health. In other words, your heart health. This includes for others. Think about the staff and other students in this building who may have scent sensitivities. If they inhale a vape secondhand, they could have a negative reaction and in some cases may have to go to the hospital. Part of our caring, safe, and inclusive school means that there may be consequences and supports for certain behaviors in order to restore a positive climate and support all those who have been impacted by the behavior. This is known as progressive discipline. The phrase progressive discipline refers to the consequences or supports or next steps that a school would engage in to help support students to improve their behavior and to make decisions that impact a safe and caring school. We consider individual circumstances when we look at progressive discipline. So what that means is that your individual circumstances, your needs, and the needs of others will all be taken into consideration when teachers and administrators look at what the next step may be in response to a behavior. At all times, our goal is to prevent an inappropriate behavior from happening again. When administrators and staff respond to specific student behaviors, there are a range of options that we have before us to determine the most appropriate way to support the student and those impacted by the behavior. Sometimes supports will be put in place, such as conversations with you, your family, your parents, consultation with special education teachers and guidance counselors, and the parties involved in the behavior. Sometimes a consequence might include an assignment to help an individual learn the impact of their behavior. It might be a detention, and sometimes in more serious cases, a suspension or an expulsion from school. Please know that administrators take behaviors very seriously in support of creating a caring environment. So we make all disciplinary decisions after looking at individual circumstances and mitigating factors, such as a student's age, stage of development, learning needs, their history of behavior, and circumstances that the students might be experiencing that surrounded that behavior. We know that behaviors occur in a broader context and behaviors change over time. Therefore, each decision that we make in response to a behavior is unique for each student at a particular time. And our response depends on the strengths and challenges and needs of that individual student, as well as the impact of the behavior on others and on the school environment. We do also look at a student's behavior history and maybe past disciplinary decisions that have been made in support of that student. We look at the intent and the impact, and most importantly, the impact of one's language and behaviors. We know that individuals are all different and have unique strengths, needs, and interests. And for that, each case of discipline is individual and may look different for different students. Sometimes the same incident may result in different consequences, because for each incident, administrators will consider all of those mitigating factors that I just described. Often these decisions are very difficult because they are so individualized, and we take every opportunity to consult with family and other staff that may be supporting you in order to lead to the most effective decision in support of a student's well-being and the well-being of our school community. When we talk about intent versus impact, that includes joking or roasting and conversations that are happening in the hallway or in the cafeteria or in class. When you are addressed about the language you are using and you respond with, "I was just joking," or "I was just kidding," please know that certain languages can be, or certain phrases and terms and behaviors can be very harmful, not only to the one you're speaking to or about, but also to yourself. And we will treat those very seriously, and we will not pass them off as a joke or a roast. So please be very mindful of the language you use about yourself, about others, and about our school community. We would like you to know that here at school, at Huron Heights Secondary School, you can expect to be taken seriously, that you will be heard, that you are respected and supported, and that your voice and the voices of your families and your community are valued. We care about you. We care about your school. We care about your community. We care about your families. Please know that all of us here are here to help, and we are here to stand up alongside you to support a caring, safe, and inclusive learning environment. These next two slides will list behaviors for which a suspension is considered. These include uttering a threat to inflict bodily harm on another person, possessing alcohol or illegal drugs or marijuana at school, being under the influence of alcohol, illegal drugs, or marijuana, swearing at a teacher or at another adult, basically anyone who is in a position of authority. Also, vandalism at school property, or on neighboring properties. Please know this includes the washrooms. And bullying or cyberbullying. Bullying and cyberbullying include activities that could happen online, whether it be in the online learning environment, on Snapchat, texts, Instagram, and so forth. Any behaviors that cause concern for the safety of students, staff, community members, or board property, lead us to consult with York Regional Police, and necessary actions will be taken. The safety and well-being of our students remains our top priority at all times. Other behaviors for which a suspension is considered include ongoing neglect of duty, opposition to authority, an act that is harmful to the moral tone of the school, an act that is harmful to the physical or mental well-being of others, and any act that breaks the board or school code of conduct. Again, these include activities that could be happening online. So one great way to avoid a suspension is to always be mindful of yourself and others and demonstrate the respect and care that is known at Huron Heights Secondary School. These next two slides will list behaviors for which an expulsion from school is considered. These behaviors are considered for expulsion when they happen at school, on or off school property, have an impact on the school climate, whether that be during a school-related activity or event or during a class. A student who is expelled from school is removed from all schools in the board and given the opportunity to continue their education in an alternative setting. So these behaviors include possessing a weapon or replica weapon, that means like a pretend weapon or a toy weapon, using a weapon to threaten, committing a physical assault, committing a sexual assault, trafficking or selling and sharing of weapons or in illegal drugs, committing robbery, giving alcohol to a minor. Expulsion is also considered for instances of bullying or cyberbullying if the student has previously been suspended for this behavior and the student creates an unacceptable risk to safety. Also, any infraction that is motivated by bias, prejudice, or hate based on race, national or ethnic origin, language, color, religion, sex, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, or any other similar factor. Also, if the student's presence is injurious to others, and/or the ongoing neglect of duty, truancy, or opposition to authority that he or she cannot or will not change. Please note that these behaviors could also happen online and be considered for an expulsion. The next couple of slides will discuss how you can help support a caring and safe and inclusive learning environment by reporting acts of unsafe behavior. How can you help? Well, if you see or hear something happening, tell that person to stop if you feel safe doing so. Otherwise, tell a trusted adult, like a teacher or a principal or a family member. If that adult doesn't listen, tell another adult. It is our responsibility as staff at this school to protect you and your classmates from unsafe behavior. You can also use the YRDSB reported tool, which will be discussed in the next slide. You can report incidents of bullying, discrimination, or hate anonymously using the YRDSB Report It button. You can find this Report It button on the Huron Heights Secondary School website, as you see on the right side of the screen, or the WIRE DSB public website that you see on the left side of the screen. When you report an incident using this tool, you can do so anonymously, meaning you do not need to give your name. We would also like to assure you that thoughts that you may be snitching or telling on someone are valid, and we understand your concerns. But it is our commitment to protect you and to assure your safety as well. It is each one of our responsibilities to protect the school, protect ourselves, and protect one another by reporting incidents of hate, discrimination, and bullying.
Good morning, students. This is Mr. MacArthur. Over the next little while, I am going to be covering a variety of different school-specific items and school procedures. Attendance and punctuality. Regular attendance in all classes is a key to academic success. Parents and guardians will receive notification by automated email and phone messages each time their daughter or son arrives late to class or is absent from class without a valid reason. If you are going to be absent, have your parent or guardian, or yourself if you're over 18, call the school at 895-2384 before 9 a.m. on the day of your absence. Messages may be left by your parent or guardian or yourself if you're over 18 on our automated telephone system at extension 183 or with the secretary after 8:30 a.m. On returning to school, if your parent or guardian have called the school, go directly to class. You do not need a note or an admit slip. Your attendance has already been explained and recorded on our daily attendance report. If your parent or guardian have not called the school, you must report to the attendance secretary with a note from your parents or yourself if you're over 18 stating the reasons for your absence. You will be given an admit slip to show to your subject teachers. If you are late, you are to report directly to your class during the first 20 minutes of the period. Students more than 20 minutes late must sign in at the attendance office with a valid note from your parent or guardian. If your teacher has marked you absent, ask for the teacher to correct their stats report for attendance. Late arrivals will be dealt with first by the classroom teachers. If a student's lates are persistent, he or she may be referred to a vice principal. If you are arriving at school during an anthem or daily announcements, you must remain standing silently until the conclusion of the announcements before proceeding to your class. If you must leave early, it is to your advantage to obtain your sign-out slip before the school day begins. Signing out means that you must leave the school property immediately. Between classes, sign out at the attendance window, either bringing a note from your parent or have your parent call the attendance secretary in advance. An admit slip will not be necessary when you return to class if you sign out properly. Detentions may be given for unauthorized leaving. If you are refused entry to class, you must report to the attendants to explain the absence before you will be readmitted to classes. If you are 18 years or older, the same attendance policies and procedures apply to you. Abuse of attendance procedures will result in a review. You will be permitted 5 sign-outs per semester, after which you must speak with a vice principal. Students without a Period 1 homeroom class must go to the attendance window for report cards and information pickup. Family vacation. Please note that the school year at Huron Heights began on Thursday, September 9th, 2021 for grade 9 students and Friday, September 10th, 2021 for grades 10 to 12 students. School finishes this year on Wednesday, June 29th, 2022. Check the important dates section that was sent to you as part of your student package. we strongly recommend that family vacations be scheduled during school vacation dates to ensure that students are able to attend all scheduled classes in all of their courses. Any student missing final exams or evaluations or summatives due to family vacations will receive a mark of 0. In the event that family vacations during regular scheduled class days are unavoidable, you are expected to pick up an application for temporary absence from Student Services or the attendance desk at the office. Have your teachers complete the form, including your current mark and assignments due. Take the completed form to a vice principal to discuss the anticipated absence. Take the form home to your parents for discussion and parent signature. Return the completed form to your vice principal for signature. Students are required to catch up on any missed work and/or assignments. Student summer employment. Please ensure that your employer is aware that you will be writing examinations and completing final evaluations during the June examination week at the end of semester 2. Training sessions, etc. for work should be scheduled after the conclusion of the examination week. Remember, any student who misses exams for family vacations or in the case of summer employment will receive a mark of 0 on that exam as they are not present to write or complete the summative task. Electronic devices. To promote the development of digital literacy, you are encouraged to bring technology such as laptops and tablets to your classes to be used at their teacher's discretion for learning purposes. Cell phones and electronic devices must be turned off and kept out of sight unless otherwise instructed by your classroom teacher. Students are not allowed to videotape other students or staff members unless the students or staff members give express permission. Appropriate dress. Huron Heights Secondary School expects that all students will dress in a way that is appropriate for the school day or for any school-sponsored event. Student dress choices should support the goals of the Huron Heights Secondary School dress code, which contribute to a school climate that is inclusive of a diverse range of identities. The primary responsibility for students' attire resides with the students and their parents or guardians. Any restrictions to the way a student dresses must be necessary to support the overall educational goals of the school as explained within the dress code. Huron Heights Secondary School students should be able to engage in an educational environment without fear of body shaming. Huron Heights Secondary School affirms students' choice to wear clothing that expresses their self-identified gender. We affirm students' choice to wear religious attire without fear of discrimination. Our goal is to prevent students from wearing clothes or accessories with offensive images or language, including profanity, hate speech, pornography, or any other content that disrupts the learning environment or the rights of others. This includes content that reasonably can be interpreted as racist, threatening, defamatory, vulgar, or obscene, or that creates a hostile environment for others. Please refrain from wearing clothing or accessories that in any way references alcohol, drugs, or related paraphernalia or illegal conduct and activities. Smoking and vaping. Students and staff cannot smoke or vape in any public or private school within Ontario. This includes indoor spaces, outdoor grounds, including playgrounds and sports fields. And in addition, students and staff must be more than 20 meters beyond the school property boundary line. If you take a look at the map on the right, the green area represents the Huron Heights Secondary School property. The orange line and shaded area surrounding the Huron Heights property indicates the area that staff and students must be beyond in order to ensure that they do not receive consequences from both Huron Heights Secondary School and York Public Health. If an individual, staff, or student is caught smoking or vaping in schools or on or around school grounds, they may be charged, and if convicted, face a maximum fine of $1,000 for the first offense or $5,000 for any further offenses. If staff or students are caught smoking or vaping on school property, there will be school-related consequences. For students, this means you may be suspended. Cannabis. Although cannabis is legal within Canada, you must be 19 or older to use, possess, buy, and cultivate marijuana in the province of Ontario. This is the same age as for purchasing and using alcohol. If a student is found to be under the influence or in the possession of cannabis on school grounds and during school-related activities, a suspension will be considered. A suspension would be required and an expulsion would be considered if a student shares cannabis with anyone under the age of 19 years old. For any quantity of cannabis found on a student, the police will be contacted. We ask that students and staff be mindful of allergies. There are students and staff in our building with life-threatening allergies to nuts and other allergens. If they smell or come into contact with these foods or allergens, they may have an anaphylactic reaction. We need to keep the safety of all students and staff as our top priority. So we ask that students and parents assist us by not bringing and sending peanuts, nuts, and any peanut or nut products to school. Food is not permitted in any classroom. Students can eat in the cafeteria, library, or in the halls. Scent allergies. Please refrain from using scented products. To ensure the safety and comfort of members of our school community who are sensitive or allergic to fragrant chemicals, we ask students and staff to avoid using any scented products. This includes lotions, perfumes, colognes. Choose unscented products, please. School property. Lockers. Lockers will be assigned to students. Please do not share lockers due to COVID-19 safety reasons. Leave your valuables at home. The school does not take responsibility for lost or stolen articles. Do not leave expensive items in your locker or in the phys ed change rooms. We implore upon you to not share your locker combination with other students. We would also like to remind you that because lockers are school board property, administration can enter them at any time. Visitors. Until further notice, visitors are not to enter the school unless identified through a pre-arranged exception. This means if your parents would like to meet with administration or guidance, please have them call ahead of time to arrange a meeting. If your friends are meeting up with you after school, please have them meet you off school property. School property. Parking. The back lot, the west end by Patterson Street, is designated for student parking. Students are asked to obtain a parking pass for their vehicle from the attendance office. While on school property, Please drive safe and do not exceed 10 kilometers per hour. Remember to look for students who are walking to school who may be crossing through the parking lot and across the driveway entrances. Please be mindful and keep everyone safe. The plaza. Students may congregate at the side of the plaza. Please avoid hanging out behind or in front of the plaza out of the respect for the merchants and their customers. Maintain social distance from others at all times. We also ask that when visiting the businesses at the plaza, that students be respectful to our neighbors, polite and courteous at all times. Emergency response procedures. After this presentation, we have asked your classroom teachers to review lockdown, hold and secure, and fire procedures for the classroom that you're in. We are also asking that your teachers in your afternoon classes review the lockdown, hold and secure, and fire procedures for that classroom and the emergency exits as well for that classroom. Lockdown. A lockdown occurs when there is a major incident or threat of violence within the school. We ask that you remain in your classroom. If you are in the halls or cafeteria, go to the nearest room. Remain quiet. Do not use your cell phones. Drills and in a real lockdown will be preceded and ended by an announcement. Hold and secure. A hold and secure occurs when security concerns due to threats to the school occupants from events occurring near the school. During a hold and secure, regular activities in the school continue, but protective measures are applied within the school. For example, exterior doors are locked until the hold and secure has ended. Access to the building is restricted. If you are outside, you will be directed to either come into the building or go to a secure location. During hold and secure drills and during a real event, the hold and secure will be preceded and ended by an announcement. Fire drill. During a fire drill, an alarm will sound. Teachers will provide instructions to students on how to evacuate the building. Once outside, students are instructed to stay with their teachers. This year, we will be evacuating the building in zones according to the pandemic protocols. The sound of 3 bells will indicate it is safe to re-enter the building. Lastly, I would like to say thank you to all the students for listening and watching this presentation. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you over this school year. On behalf of all the administration, we hope that you have a great day. Work hard and have a great school year, everyone.